My name is Dorina Timbol, and I'm running for the Simi Valley Unified School District, Area A. So if you're not familiar with Area A, we are just north of the 118 freeway. So you're north, all the way from the east end, all the way to Erringer, so everything north. So interesting thing is that when I first got started a few months ago, little did I know I'd be standing here right before you today. You see, when I first started, I had my reason was different. I was helping a friend of mine, a candidate, running, and interestingly enough, I received a call that there was an opportunity for me in Area A to represent that area. So I was very excited about that. I thought that I could use every single skill that I had built over the last 2 decades here in Simi Valley to be able to impact and help those students in our school. I happen to have been a business owner in our community, very successful business. I happen to have been executive director of a nonprofit, and everything I did with excellence. Not only did I create those businesses for the nonprofit and my business, but I also did that for other nonprofits in our community. Some very successful that are being utilized throughout our district, from Northern California all the way to the Bakersfield area. So everything I did with excellence. And what did I want to do? I wanted to be able to utilize all that to help our students here in Simi Valley.
Yes.
Thank you. I've been married to a wonderful patriot for almost 32 years. Yes, honey, 32 years. We have 2 wonderful children that went through our Simi Valley Unified School District. They started in elementary school all the way up to high school, so I'm very grateful. So I've been part of this community solving problems because I consider myself a problem solver. I've been doing that for the last several decades. And so when I had an opportunity to do this, as you can imagine, I was very excited. But little did I know that although I started for one reason, I'd end up staying and doing all of this for another. You see, I believe that every child deserves a quality education.
Yes.
You see, my kids are grown, right? One just got married. One is graduated from college, living her dream career. But I knew that I can utilize everything I had ever learned in my life to help those. Because you see, little do you all know that everything that I'd done, all the adversity I'd faced as a child would be able to serve me now. As a business, owning a business, 31,000 square foot, we had a physical fitness school. We had some of the best athletes in the country. And why were we successful? Because we had incredible ratios. We had 1 to 8. So the coaches that we had would work with 8 students, which created a quality program. Because if I didn't create that quality program, they could easily go to somebody else. You see, when I saw that by providing excellent quality to those athletes, not only would they produce excellence, but it would keep and retain our staff. Which is interesting because one of my coaches would drive 2 hours just to come out to Simi Valley from Long Beach just to come work for me. So I created a culture of excellence. I created one of commitment. We had a special needs program in that gym. Funny enough, little did I know that that would serve me so well later on. In fact, going to the school board and being part of all this, what I've learned is every single skill I can use to help our students right here in Simi Valley. Because they deserve that. Because the public institution of education should be just that, education. That should be our primary focus. So when I decided to make this transition and represent each and every one of you, I wanted to make sure that everything that I had done was in the best interest of each and every child. I wanted to make sure that I was a champion for them. And most importantly, that I was also a voice for those parents. Because during this entire campaign, what I did see was so many concerned parents that would pull their kids out, said, I don't want this for my kid. Didn't believe that they were getting what they were entitled. We had great parents that they thought their kids were academically up here, that they weren't getting enough. And we had those down there that didn't have the support. Because coming from a family where I was the caregiver, I had to advocate for myself. We were immigrants from Italy. So I had to fill out the paperwork at school. I had to make sure I translated each and everything to my grandparents because they didn't understand. So I understand those parents that need someone to be a voice for them. So my time is running out. You can go to my website, DorinaTimbol.com, and learn a little bit more. But I moved to Simi Valley for safety. I want to make sure we prioritize that safety for our students. I want to make sure they feel safe, not only physically, but emotionally. I work and I lead leadership camps for high school students. And I want to make sure that we build young leaders for tomorrow that want to give back to our community, because that's what we are doing. And I'm not only involved in one organization, I'm involved in many, because I believe when there's a need, you have to step up and solve the problem. So you all have an opportunity to help all of us. Lead the charge. My time has expired. I get a little passionate. I'm sorry. I make very ugly faces. I've seen my pictures. So now is your time to ask me questions. So, yes, ma'am.
Yes, I would just like to tell you a little story.
Okay.
I don't have children, and so I don't feel it's my right to interfere with children, okay? But when I was a child, there was 4 of us kids, and we were eating dinner one night, and my dad says, "Connie, how are things going in school?" She says, "Well, I'm gonna be missing my friends." He says, "Where are your friends going?" She says, "Well, because my name is Zico, a Z. We're not being promoted in the last half of the alphabet." My dad was furious to think that because they were sending half of the class promoting them by alphabet. So he went to school the next day and made a big scene, okay? That night, many of the children talked about Mr. Zico coming to school and making a scene. The following day was the biggest scene anybody else had ever seen, because the parents got involved. That's the big thing. The parents have got to be involved in what's going on in the school with their children.
I agree with you. I think it's important because, thank you for that story. I appreciate that. I was involved in my kids. I think it's important. I was involved in PTA when they first started. I was in every class. I volunteered. Even when AYSL, when they did soccer. I didn't know much about soccer, although I watched it, but I ended up coaching. You see, we all have an opportunity to make a difference. And so not only is it about my kids, it's about all of yours. And even though you all think there's no reason, because some of you don't have kids in the district, or you guys are too old and you have grandkids, you have real estate in Simi Valley. That means when people move to Simi Valley, and I know somebody said that, you move to Simi because of the schools. I want to make sure we keep them that way. I want to make sure we have excellent schools. I want to make sure that each and every child has that opportunity. And to me, I think it's a very important, whether you pay taxes here, if you have kids here or not, the bottom line is we all have a voice. So, yes. Anybody else? Yes, back there, please.
Okay, what's your plan on better parent-teacher participation? Because I keep hearing it's a hard thing to do, that the parents, they don't care. They don't want to get involved anymore. And to have the parents and the teachers work together, we'll be able to do many things, even like what Dr. Ron was talking about, to inform the parents of some of the things that they don't know about. But it's important if parent-teacher participation together helps the kids.
Well, I have to agree with you. Thank you for your question. What she was saying is how are we going to get the parents re-engaged, right, into the process to work with the teachers, because it does take a village to help our students. I agree with you. I think it's very important. I think unfortunately, some of those parents are working 2 and 3 jobs to just survive. So they don't know and they don't understand. I know that firsthand, that it's like they don't either understand the curriculum or they don't have the financial means to leave their work. They're entrusting their kids to us. And that's why I want to make sure that I create the transparency so that those parents bring the trust back to the institution. I think we can do that. And by being able to keep an open communication, getting them involved in the process, I think they'll build that trust and hopefully get re-engaged into the process, because I think we've lost that. I remember parents, they do that, especially in elementary. You have tons of parents and all of a sudden they start to drop off in middle school. They trust us with their kids or their school. So thank you for that. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Do you have any thoughts on the creeping wokeism into the schools?
So I always look at social issues as a big distraction, because what happens is if you're not focused on the target, mine is academics, you lose sight of what our job is. And my job is to make sure that they're educated. So if you're asking my opinion, I believe that it's the parents' job to teach the moral compass at home and focus on that. The education is about education, and that should be our primary focus. And I do not believe social issues should be infused into the school district. Absolutely not.
How do you make that happen, and what influence do you have as a school board member?
So I think you have a lot, but always remember, and let's be honest, it's a numbers game. You have 5 board trustees, right? And it's about a majority, and it's about bringing common sense to those conversations so that they understand. And so again, I come from a place of personal experience in my life and the adversity I faced. So my focus is very simple, and hopefully with at least the experience and the knowledge that I have in various organizations, not just one, but many, I can bring some of that understanding and hopefully give them a little bit of, I wouldn't say persuade them, but yes, persuade them to see things from a different perspective. But it does take 3, and when you have a 5, it's the majority. So, but I will do what I can to make sure we stay focused on the target, that's academics. So. Yes.
Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Okay.
Thank you so much.